Hey guys, so the next character that will be coming to GL DFFOO is Kurasame, and he will be getting his FR as well as BT. So first of all, let's just jump right straight to discuss if Kurasame's FR is good as a main FR or to be used as an echo. So Kurasame's FR, as long as Hero is at 5 stacks, Hero is the debuff that he inflicts, then the party will get a generic of 50% because it is 10% for each stack. And he enchant the party with ice, giving the party a total of 70% generic condition. So technically that's really good. So you can kind of like create a team comp rather easily as long as your other units or the other allies are not elemental, except if they are ice. So you can, it's something like Penelo, right? So we have Penelo who is generic, and then she supercharges or either pass her FR phase to another PT character, and you easily get 70% as well. So Kurasame does function this way, and I also showcase like Neon also has that form of capability. So definitely just due to that, I would consider that Kurasame's FR is actually a good FR to be used as main. But one of the problem here is that if enemy acts during his FR, and if hero stack debuff would be resetted, right? So initially it was 5, after enemies then it go back to 1, because every time enemies act, this stack will change. It will go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back to 1. So if that happens, then you will just get 10% HP damage bonus instead of 50%. So that can make it a little bit tricky to use. So you either want to have no boss turn, or you go into summon phase or anything. Another way is to disable the boss, because if the boss do not act, then the buff, the stack will not change. Okay, so even with that, I would still recommend that Kurasame's FR is actually a good main FR. But if you want it to use as echo, as usual, all the character can do that. But now, if we have his BT, then that slightly changes. Because first, let's talk about his BT. Do we need his BT? I would say yes, you do need his BT. Unless you are just using his FR as an echo FR, then that is fine. But compared to the other characters now, he probably does not bring that much onto the table without his BT, because it is just a 30% HP damage up from his debuff. Then he slows down the enemy with Ice, Party, and Chun. And a lot of characters now with BT auras, you technically would cap even without the Ice and Chun dealing weakness damage. The 30% HP damage up is probably not as critical as before. So he does lack in that perspective, but his damage is still alright, okay? But anyway, with his BT, it will prevent hero stack from decreasing. So it will stays at 5. So which means that makes his FR like definite generic. There's no worries if the stack will decrease or not, okay? That is only if you do not have his BT. And on top of that, his BT have a massive 50% HP damage limit up. Together with his high armor, that's 60%. So currently we do not have a character that's 60%. Even Penelo is 50. If not mistaken, Garnet is 40. Sarah is in the range of 40 to 45 as well, if I'm not mistaken. So 60 is definitely the highest. And even going down several months down, 60 still remains the highest until Deuce, which is just recently in JP. So if you want to use him as the means to increase your party's damage through HP damage limit up, he is definitely a very good character for that. And something new to his BT, or basically his kit, is freeze. So his BT effect has freeze on the enemy, so it prevents the enemy from gaining or stealing brave, and that is simply the same as Setzer's freeze debuff or Shiva's freeze debuff. But the thing that this is an aura from the BT effect, so there is no way that the boss can cleanse it or cancel it. So as long as Kurasame's BT effect is up, that it is unlikely that you will get killed. So Kurasame can actually fit into some of the off-turn team if you want to, because it prevents the enemy from killing your team, right? So that is actually something to consider about. But anyway, if you are against enemy that is doing HP threshold attacks and things like that, Kurasame will save you, right? So if you do not have a lot of option for defenses, then you can also bring Kurasame. So he works really well for offense as well as defense. The only advantage of its BT effect that it is only 6 turns, so if you are not so keen of that, but personally I think it is enough. Okay, if you time it right, during an FR phase you don't even need 6 turns of BT effect. Now as for Kurasame's overall kit, with his high HP damage up and HP damage limit up for the party with Ice Enchant, I would actually consider him more as a support unit rather than a utility unit that he was previously. And he also received a rework that allows him to deal 4 HP dumps follow-up attack, and that also makes him pretty good as a DPS character because he averaged now doing about 8 to 14 HP dumps. So if you are comparing him with other unit that we get recently, probably he's not the hardest hitter, but it's still pretty decent. Okay, but one most important thing is that if you decided to skip Kurasame, at least get his LD, because his LD is still a very good LD to use even up to today, even in JP right now. You get about 25 to 30% depending on hero stack. If you chain his base call and LDCA together, then you can get 25 on one enemy and 30 on the other. And he has party Ice Enchant. Okay, so and another point here to make is that the rework from his EX that allowed 4 HP dumps is also included in his LDCA and base call. Basically his call now hit pretty hard as well. So overall score, factoring in his usefulness as the LDCA, I would give him an 8/10. And if you have limited defensive character, like you do not have, okay, Setzer Freeze is impossible to not have because it's from his base call. You just have to activate or recruit Setzer into your team and you will get access to his base call. And Shiva's call as well is a summon, it's there, you can get it. But his freeze effect, as in Kurasame's freeze effect, is definitely better. So if you are lack on some defensive characters to protect your team, then I would say that Kurasame is even worth 8.5 up to 9, just because of the additional defensive mechanism that his kit has, on top of the HP damage limit up and damage boosts and everything else. Alright, so that's what I had for Kurasame. Personally, I am contemplating if I really want to pull for him. I wanted to, but I kind of like recounted the materials that I have, so I haven't truly decided. Anyway, good luck for your pull tomorrow, and thank you.